Hello everyone, this is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club, and welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're continuing with part 2 of our playthrough of Police Precinct, and we're attempting to solve a 20-year-old cold case. So far we aren't doing very well. On the board currently we have a green, blue, yellow, and another green emergency on the board. One of them is an urgent, and that is a traffic accident at the intersection of 4th and Calhoun. Larger problem is we have a street riot occurring on Stickle Avenue, and a gang has formed on North Colfax in Block 3. So far we have collected one witness statement, and that places our prime suspect at the crime scene. Our crime marker is currently moved up 2 locations on the Cops Fail track, and worse yet, we only have 1 street punk in the supply. So if we have to place any more than 1 street punk, our crime marker is going to rise. So we need to we have to definitely arrest some punks and start solving some of these critical emergencies, and then at the same time continue on with filling out our murder board. It's currently turn 11, so it's getting late. All right, we're going to begin with Captain Odell. He is our first player, and I think we need to arrest some street punks to prevent that crime rate from going up. So one problem we have is this street riot on Stickle. We can't move any vehicles there. Once they are engaged in combating that riot, you can't move them until you've solved that. So I'm hoping that Officer Kirkland and the support vehicle can solve that problem. Captain Odell is going to move 2 spaces, and he's going to go to 1st Street and attempt to arrest some punks there. All right, Captain Odell is going to attempt to arrest some of those street punks. He's going to request support from Ian Kirkland, and that's going to give him an extra die to roll during the arrest. So at this point right now, he gets 1 die for his arrests and 1 for the fast response card from Kirkland. So I think we're going to try that. He does have a donut available, and I don't know if I want to play that or not. Probably would be wise to do it, so I think he will. We'll play the donut, giving us an extra die for the roll. So we'll be rolling 3 for this, and we can arrest them on rolls of 2 or greater. Here's the roll. And we've got a total of 3, so we've arrested 2 punks. That moves our supply up to 3 now at least, which is good. And Officer Odell will now draw a police card, and we'll see what he gets. This time he draws Officer Assistance. Okay. Now we have to see what the event is going to be. All right, the event is revealed to be rioting gang, and that is a yellow emergency. So what is going to happen is the traffic accident on 4th and Calhoun with an urgent marker is going to fail. So that card is going to be removed, and we're going to have to move the crime track up 1, and then the urgent marker will go on the existing yellow emergency, which is at the police station. So the rioting gang card is going to go at the morgue, and we have to place a total of 3 punks there, which is all that is left in the supply. So we're going to have to deal with those first before we can address that emergency. The existing sabotage emergency now becomes urgent. And the crime tracker will move up to 3. We're 50% of the way there now. And now, since an emergency was placed on the board, the street riot is going to kick in. And that says, for every future emergency drawn, add a street punk to this riot until the card is removed. Well, we can't do that. We have no punks left in the supply. So the crime track is going to move 1 additional space. So the crime marker moves up to getting into the danger area. So Officer Kirkland is going to attempt to finally put an end to the street riot, and she's going to attempt to arrest the one punk as that is there. She gets 1 die for herself and 1 for the support vehicle. Here's the roll. And she's got a couple successes, so we've finally dealt with this street riot. That is gone. We've got 1 punk in the supply. Now she's going to draw her police card. And she is going to gain officer assistance. That is her 3rd card. And now we have to find out what the event is going to be. And the event is a green traffic accident. That is going to place punks on the board, which we don't have any in the supply. Not to mention, it is a green one. That is going to shift the urgent marker from the sabotage emergency at the police station to the traffic accident on 1st and Vassal. So we can't let this card play. We'll have to put that in the back of the draw deck and take whatever chances we have with the next card. And this one is, it is major problems in the hood. Internal memorandum. Current player must choose. Take 4 street punks and place them in bad hoods of your choice, no more than 1 bad hood, 1 per bad hood, or take 2 street punks from the stockpile and put them back into the box, taking them out of play. Well, we don't have much of a choice. We're going to have to do the first one. Take 4 street punks and place them in bad hoods of our choice. There are none. So we're going to end up failing this. That is going to raise the crime track by 1. That's the best of the choices we can make. Yeah, Kirkland's intuition ability is extremely valuable. It kind of saves you in situations, but in this case, there's not much we could do. So the crime marker is going to move up 1 more, and we're within 1 of cops fail, and that's not good. So that's going to bring the round to a close. We'll advance our calendar marker to turn 12, and we'll begin with Captain Odell. Captain Odell is on 1st Street, and we're really in a bad shape here. We have no punks available in the supply, so any addition of a punk is going to lose us the game. And the problem is, Captain Odell cannot really move through because of this traffic accident here. I wanted him to move around to Stickle and attempt a arrest because of the other squads here being present, but I don't think we can do that. He can't reach that far. He's only got 3 movement. So his only choice would be to go to Colfax and attempt to arrest some of those punks that are in that rioting gang there to get more into the supply. He's only going to have 1 die available, though. See, that's the problem. And I don't have any other arrest cards that I can play to assist him. I think in this case, he's going to attempt to solve the traffic accident that's in front of him. I think that's our best bet. He's going to request assistance from the support vehicle, which is going to move on the south end of Vassal and 1st. It's going to give Odell a total of 3 dice to handle the emergency. And here's the roll. We're looking for a 4. And we've done it. Okay, so he has solved that. He's going to gain either a donut or he doesn't have to take a event this turn, and that's what we're going to select. We don't have to take an event. That is great. He'll take that as his reward. And now he gets to draw a police card. So he'll draw his police card. He gets allocate resources. And we don't have to draw an event since we had that for a reward. That is great. Officer Kirkland is on Stickle, and she's going to attempt to arrest those punks in Bad Hood 6. We'll request support from the support vehicle, and that's going to give her a total of 2 dice at present, 1 for each of the participating officers. And that's all she can get. Officer Odell doesn't have any cards he can play, so she'll be rolling 2 dice, and she'll be arresting punks on rolls of 2 or greater, the strength of the Bad Hood. Here's the roll. She's rolled a 2 and a 3. Okay, so she's arrested the 2 punks. That puts our supply up to 2 now. And I think since she's there, she's going to play this surveillance card. And it says play this card to look at the top 2 cards of the event deck. Return 1 to the top and 1 to the bottom. So that might give us an ability to prevent a collapse here of the crime track. So we'll draw 2 cards. The first card is a green traffic accident. Second one is a naked man. Both are green. So we'll have to have one of the green play. Currently, there are no green cards on the board. So I think we'll probably put the traffic accident up first, and the naked man we'll put at the bottom of the stack. We'll do that. All right. Now Kirkland will draw her police card, and she gets air support. So we'll give her the air support card. Now she has to draw an event, and we know what that one's going to be. That one is a traffic accident at the intersection of 3rd and Vassal. 2 punks are going to come out on the board, and we can do that. So we're going to make a roll for the punks and see where they are going to be placed. They're going to be in hoods 2 and 3. So we'll place a hood in bad hood 2 and one in 3, which is not good. This is the East Siders, and we'll take a closer look at them. It's a gang. The East Siders have a special ability, and it says this gang knows how to recruit by pressure and false promises. When an event card causes 1 or more street punks to be added to this gang's bad hood, add 1 extra. Well, we can't do that. And unfortunately, when you can't place a punk and you're instructed to, the crime track will advance. And so the crime track rises by 1, and unfortunately, the cops have failed. Crime has gotten out of control, and the mayor has fired us from the force. And so that is going to bring our game to a close. I wasn't anticipating this part 2 to be this short. I thought we would have been able to do a little bit better than we did, but once again, it was a cascade of events that happened, and we didn't have any ability to stop it. Even with Commander Kirkland's intuition ability, it still wasn't enough. So since this video was cut short, I think I'll use the time to kind of discuss this game a little bit and talk about some of the nuances of the game and how this actually really relates quite a bit to police work. From what I understand, this game was actually being used at some police academies to kind of teach resource management to police officers, and you can actually see how this could do that. You've got limited assets, and you have to deploy them to your best ability to keep things kind of in check. And this game is very good at that. And it has that mechanism with the card draws where you don't know what the color of the card is going to be, and that could in turn set off making an emergency urgent, therefore placing that on a priority list that's much higher and could be affecting your crime track, so to speak. Now, the mechanics in the game, I think, are quite brilliant, especially in how arrests work. If the strength of the arrest that you need to make is dependent upon the number of hoods that are present, and that would kind of grows geometrically. As you add hoods to an area, it becomes more and more difficult. Single street punk is not a problem, but when you've got 4 or 5, well, that's making things a lot tougher. And then if you fail to make an arrest, you go to the hospital. So it's the theme on this is very, very good, and I think it does simulate police work very well, at least in the sense of using it for planning and for allocating the limited resources that you have. No police department has all of the resources that they need, so they've got to make tough decisions in deploying the assets they have. Now, what I'm thinking about for my next playthrough of this, using the solitaire rules, we have 2 officers plus the support vehicle. I think I'm going to start myself out with an extra donut for each of the officers, and that might help us a little bit to get started and not necessarily go down that path of cascading events like that happened in this game. At the beginning, we were doing quite well, keeping the street punks in line and solving many of the emergencies, but when that happens in the game, when you have that cascade of events occur, it's very tough to stop that. Now, we made it to turn 12. Unfortunately, we only had one witness statement on our murder board, and we needed a lot more than what we were able to acquire. It's not that I didn't try. We were definitely placing more emphasis on our investigations, but there's just not enough time in the day to cover what you have to prevent that crime track from moving and still perform your investigations. All in all, though, a very great game. Gives you a great feel for what it's like to be in law enforcement, I think. So I think that's going to wrap this video up. I apologize for it for being somewhat anticlimactic, but that's what happened. I was not anticipating that that crime track would move that quickly in just a few turns. Otherwise, I would have just included all of this into the first episode. We would have just had a one-part playthrough. But I hope you enjoyed this playthrough. This is a great game. It is still available. You can purchase it. And if you're interested in this, you can go to, on BGG, they will give you a link to Common Man Games and their second party where they're selling this. And so you still can get a copy. So this is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club signing off and inviting everyone to tune back into the channel for another video coming soon.